Hey, let me get rid of these. Hi, everybody. How is it going? Please let me know if everything's coming through. I want to play a little guitar uh, at first just to see if that was coming through. I am always super stressed out about live streams because, yeah, it's not my thing really, and I'm terrible in this OBS software. But I think I have it going. So please let me know in the chat. Is my voice okay? Can you hear the guitar? Is everything balanced, like volume to guitar and volume's a little low, eh? Okay. Let me see what I can do about that. Does that make a difference at all? Let me see. How's that? Is the volume better on the vocal? Awesome. This is great. Cool. So, how is everybody enjoying our 3.5 firmware? I, for one, am absolutely loving it. I obviously had the opportunity of using it for beta. Man, is it hard to stay quiet about it, which we have to do. Hey, Johnny, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I mean, 3.5 is just incredible. Everybody's totally blown away with the new cabs, as well as I am. Everybody knows I was always a fan of the stock cabs anyways in the Helix, and even comparing them, you know, there's still a lot of great stock cabs of the old legacy models, but the new ones are just wonderful. I mean, coming from a studio background, I always loved, you know, just being able to control tone by moving microphones around and getting great tones that way. And now we can do it, right? And there was so many other great products. The fine folks at Two Notes had great products. You know, Amplitude. It was always nice. You could go in and move the mics around, and now finally we have it too. And I think everybody's rightfully excited about it. So it's very cool. So I do have a really cool announcement coming very shortly. I'll just wait to see if more people show up. We got a good number of viewers here. That's awesome. Thank you guys all so much for coming out. But yeah, there's gonna be a cool announcement about these cabs and a few things that I think a lot of people who've used my presets, especially my marketplace presets, are gonna be happy about. So what's everybody's favorite new features on 3.5? Well, you guys let me know what that is. I'm just gonna say hi to a few folks here in the chat. Andrew Hall, Old Man Variax, Flux, Max Line, Carlos Braga, Ronald Bryant. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Johnny Lee, my good friend over in the UK. How's it going, buddy? Thank you guys for stopping in and sharing your time with me. I haven't done one of these live streams in quite some time, and it's I got to do more of them. It's kind of fun. So if anybody has any questions concerning new features and whatnot that I could answer, feel free to go ahead. Now, let me ask you, how many folks here have any of my Line 6 Marketplace presets? Had a little coffee action here. Because the reason is, this is what I really want to get the word out about, is when I was doing the beta, I really knew that there was going to be a lot of people really into the new cabs. Now, I have a lot of presets up on the marketplace, and I'm very happy with, always have been very happy with the way they sound. They're the presets that I actually use for all of my sessions, all of my own recordings of my original music, all of my demos when I play live. And I've had, nothing but great comments from folks, whether it be producers, engineers that I, will provide tracks for when I'm doing sessions and whatnot. And they always love the tones, some of my favorites are the Metal Through the Decades when I'm doing heavy stuff, any of the British presets I really like. So I was never feeling like, I need to redo these now that we have new cabs, because they were always dialed in a way that I was happy with. So having said that, though, I also knew it was going to be a weird thing, because a lot of folks were probably going to come out and say, how about utilizing the new cabs? I have a lot of presets available. And I thought, man, that's going to be a crazy amount of work to actually go ahead and, redo them all. And then there's also going to be people who are very, very happy with the existing ones. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I mulled this over for quite some time. And so I'm happy to say that what I actually decided to do at one point a little bit ago, and what I've actually just about completed is I thought the best way to approach this would be I'm going to rework every single marketplace preset that I have. I shouldn't say every single one. I'm going to say about 95% of them, simply because there are a handful of presets that are very specific tones that there's really no benefit to, putting a new cab on them. It's actually going to change exactly the way it sounds, right? One of them is like the Stone Age Ultimate, or the, I believe it was, which was the other one now? Anyways, ones that have very specific cabinets where I didn't really find an equivalent new cab that was really adding anything to it. It was just going to change the preset into something totally different, which I didn't really want to do. But I'm going to say like 95% of the presets that I have on the marketplace, I have redone them with new cabs, and they sound fabulous. In some cases, they're going to be quite different than the originals. I should say quite different, okay, and then in the originals, simply because it's a new cab, and maybe there wasn't an equivalent cab in the new cabs versus the legacy cabs that really matched it or got really close. And in those cases, I thought, well, that's fine. The new preset will be slightly different. But the beautiful part about it is any existing customers who have purchased marketplace presets from me will get the updated presets for free. There's no more charge. They're not up there yet. Unfortunately, with Line 6 Marketplace, I'm not in control of when they get put up there. And right now, there's a little back-end work going with the folks at Line 6. Midweek this week, that's going to be all cleared up, and I'll be able to upload those. So I'm hoping, if everything goes well, by Thursday or Friday of this coming week, this is all going to be updated, and all these new presets will be up. So for existing customers, they'll simply log into their Line 6 account, and they'll just re-download the presets, and you will now have the original legacy preset in a folder called legacy preset, or presets if it's a bundle, and you'll get the brand new preset using the new cabs. No extra charge. I really wanted to do this as a thank you to everybody who supported my presets and the purchases. I mean, I can never put into words how much I appreciate everybody's support with that. So I really wanted to do this as a real thank you and hats off to everybody who did support me. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. So you'll still get the same original preset. No changes. If you loved it, use it. It's great. If you want to try the new one, that's amazing, and you can use that new one, and now you're going to basically get double the presets for free. And any new customers who are interested, they're going to get the same thing, the new and the old, and it's great. I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. It was a massive amount of work, I gotta say. I spent a lot of time on it. It was exhausting. I really hammered down, spent probably 3 solid days of just going over the presets, swapping out cabs. I thought, sometimes it was very simple. Greenback 25, put the new Greenback 25. Start off with the same microphones, move them around, tweak things. And in some cases, I wanted to maybe give somebody like a slightly different preset. Maybe I'm not going to get it exactly. We already have the other one. Why would we want it exactly if it's going to be close, right? So I actually have some of them here, and I'll play you. I got my guitar here in my lap, one of my guitars, and I'll play you some examples of sort of the 3.5 version, and that's how they'll be labeled. The preset will be labeled with 3.5 after it, and the other will just be, it'll always start off with a JS at the start. And the legacy one will be in a legacy folder, won't have 3.5 after it. The other one will have 3.5 after it, so it'll be very easy to tell which is which. And yeah, okay, so I see a question come up. Andrew Hall, which would you choose if you could only choose between legacy presets or updated presets with the new cabs? That's a really interesting question, because as I was doing this, I was really listening back and forth. And for some of them, honestly, like there was obviously differences between them, but I was like, I could actually go either way on these. And I'll give you an example. One of my favorites is my Plexi Trem Ultimate preset, which I actually use pretty much for 90% of live playing when I'm playing just cover tunes and whatnot. And I really can't see myself changing because I'm so happy with the way that sounded with the legacy cab. So I'm just, why mess with it, right? Having said that, I could probably switch to the new version and be just as happy. But, so honestly, I think it's just going to be after thinking it through for a while, I think it was just going to be the best of both worlds. Give everybody their original ones, the folks who like that, they can just stick with it. And if not, then they can try the new one, and they could go between the two of them and tweak them to their liking and whatnot. So it's pretty much done. I got a few more HX Stomp presets to still port over and kind of do the work. It's a bit of a tedious job, but that should probably be done by tomorrow, uploaded very soon after. And yeah, ready to go. So Dave Put says, play the Ultimate Placator. That is what I was playing in the beginning, actually, and that's what you're hearing here. So if you want to hear, let me do this. Let me pull up my HX editor. I don't really know if I can get this on screen, but you're hearing the 3.5 version. So here is the original legacy version, okay? I'm going to go to my OD1 snapshot, and that's this. Now, if I switch back over to the new version, go to the same snapshot. That's what that one sounds like. So I don't know, what do you guys think of that? That's one example of sort of the legacy versus the 3.5. And like, obviously I have a ton of these that I could go through. So let's just go over the chat here for a second. So that's what's going to happen. That's the big announcement. I wanted everybody to know, please share that with so many folks, because the problem is I don't have any way of getting in touch with every customer that I've had over the last 4 years. That's, you know, Line 6 handles that side of things. You know, I can see a list, but I don't have email address. I can't send out a bulk email. So I really want to make sure that the word gets out there so that folks who have purchased these know, hey, I can just go back into my account and I can grab, somebody says, oh, the tones are a little bit quiet. Let me bump the volume up. Hopefully that's a little bit louder for the guitars. Yeah, so that folks can then know that, you know, it's possible that somebody doesn't get this word and then they don't know that they can go download a bunch of free presets that they have, especially somebody who's bought like a complete pack of mine. They're going to get a whole bunch of brand new presets at no charge. So I would really be sad if some folks didn't find out about that when they can just simply log into a Line 6 account, download it again, and have it. Now, you'll know that this is actually all up and running when I do a video this week about it. I will do a release with the official kind of, it's done, log into your account, grab your presets and enjoy and have fun. The other good thing about it is, you know, it's really interesting because there's something else I want to say. Some of these presets were made like 4 years ago now. I think this all started the marketplace in 2019. So some of those early presets, when I went back and revisited them, there's things that have happened in the firmware updates that, you know, changed things, right? So for instance, we can now set the guitar input pad in the input block to either be our global settings or on or off. Now, that reason I bring that up is because I've had people say to me, like, I tried your preset, it doesn't sound like the video demo. And I go, well, really, you know, one thing I'm very careful about is when I do a video demo and I'm playing you those tones, those are not processed after the fact. I want people to hear what they're going to get. It doesn't do anybody any favors if I go, oh, you know what, I think I'll go and EQ this after the fact. That's just silly. And, you know, people have even accused myself and other preset makers of doing this. And it's such a nonsensical thing to do. Why would I not want the customer to get what they're hearing? And if I do need to EQ it, I can do that within the Helix. So it just doesn't make any sense that I'm going to do this outside of the, you know, outside of the box. I did have somebody ask, I did have somebody ask where they can get these. Let me just share the link here if I can get it in the chat. Let me see if it'll allow me to do this. Yeah, there you go. So there's a link to all of my marketplace presets. And yeah, you can just click that and peruse through them. There's a whole bunch in there. So the nice thing is too, if you buy a preset today, when this is updated later this week, which I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that, you know, it's like I said, it's out of my hands, but hopefully it's done, then you're going to get those too. You'll just re-download them and you'll have the new preset in there. So that's awesome. So what was I saying about that? Oh yeah, so something like the guitar input pad. See, I've now gone in, if I've designed this preset to have the guitar input pad turned off and somebody plays it with it on, well, obviously it's going to be lower gain sound to it. It's going to change the way that our guitar interacts with the amp or the overdrive pedal or whatever, the compressor that's in it potentially, right? So then, yeah, you know, by having that set now, you know, off instead of on, people are going to get automatically a more accurate representation regardless of where their global settings are changed. And if they have to go change that after, they can obviously do that. So things like that I wasn't able to do back 4 years ago because that didn't exist. I used to be using things like a split crossover technique instead of a low and high shelf EQ, which is actually the reason we have a low and high shelf EQ now, is the folks at Line 6 went, you're doing this cool split crossover thing. We need to put a low and high shelf EQ, and we have that. So, you know, I did that a while back where I altered my presets that had split block, low and high shelf to the actual block. So that was done a while back. But I was able to go through each preset and even look for any errors as far as things that maybe changed when a firmware was updated, which is rare, but I did find a few settings versus my records of settings I had where I was like, oh, that's not the right setting. I changed that. And so anyways, everybody can go re-download those presets and get everything kind of revamped fresh right from the start with this new firmware, with one bonus preset for every preset that already existed, utilizing the new cabs. And I think it's just a lot of fun. I'm so happy I did it. And I just wanted to get that done for everybody as like I said, a huge thank you. And not only that, to offer to new customers who want to get some presets, you know, to get both of these presets, the legacy one, which I love so much and that I've had so much success with, and also the new one. And I hope everybody just enjoys it and, you know, makes some great music with them. So that's what it's really all about in the end. So let's head over here, and then I'll give you some examples of some of the sounds. I'm just going to whip through the chat here really quick. I hope everything's still sounding good. I don't think anything's changed here on my end. I'm kind of watching the video over here with it on mute to make sure that everything's going good. So what do we have here? Sorry, the chat's tough to keep up with. Mix sounds fine. Where can I get these presets? So I have the link up here. I'll share that again. I got to remember to put that in the description below. Anybody who wants to click on it. Let's see here. Somebody says, Jake King says, I think the new cabs are set up stock settings in a better way. Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's a tough thing, right? Because here's the thing. And I see so many folks give opinions online, you know, that are very definitive opinions and like, this is the way it is. And I always make sure to qualify everything I say by saying, look, this is my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. You know what I mean? I think we could take two different tones, and I've done this in videos, comparing tones. Say, which one do you prefer? You know, and if you line up 100 people, you get 30 that say, you know, tone A, 30 that say tone B, 30 that don't care, and 10 that aren't going to be happy about anything you do. You know what I mean? So that's just the nature of it. And, you know, I love the fact that we can move the mics around now. I'm a studio guy for many years. I'm also a live player, but I'm a studio guy for many years. And I've, you know, as you can probably see right down, where is it here? How do I get there? Right down there, I have a mic on my cab that's going into my nice outboard gear here. So I still mic cabs for various reasons when I need to. And I love, you know, moving microphones around on the speaker cabinet to get the tone dialed in just perfectly. And now we can do that in the Helix. So that's what I'm excited about. Not so much that I think, oh, the new cabs are like miles better. I got great tones out of the old legacy cabs. And in some cases, I may still use them. I don't know. If it gets me the tone I want right away, then I will use them. But just the fact we can move the mic around on and off axis, distance, the dual cab block is very cool with the stereo spread on it all. That's going to be huge, 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 I would have to say. And I really love that we can now, pan left and right, delay a cab. It's really cool. If anybody hasn't seen my video on the new cabs, then it's up on my YouTube channel as well. All right, everything's still coming through here. Yeah, okay, good. So some memory man says update. Oh geez, I don't even pay attention anymore. When I was counting the seconds to the next update, it's a shame. This is a good update though. This is probably, they jumped from 3.15 to 3.5 for a good reason, I think, because this was just loaded. The cab section alone is such a massive upgrade with this ability to, like I said, to move the microphones around. Just incredible. Now, Kyle asks, and this is a great question, I feel like the new cab engine, I need to do way less EQ and high-low cutting at the end of my patches. Misguided. Good question. Maybe yes, maybe no. There's some of the new cabs where I found them actually even fizzier, and maybe I needed some high cuts. Here's the reality is if I mic a cabinet in the studio here, when I get it into my DAW of choice and I'm mixing, I'm likely going to use some sort of EQ, whether it be a high and low shelf EQ. So I work very much in the Helix, much like I do in the real world. So, we have our amp in our cabinets mic'd, and then if I feel I need to go in and tweak the EQ to have it sit for a certain situation, I do just that. And I don't think that's, I've heard some folks say, oh, that's cheating or polishing turds or whatever. And I don't see why. I mean, ultimately, in the end, if it sounds great, you're getting the results that you want for your ideals, then why am I going to argue with with anybody about that? You're right. You're happy. It sounds great for you. Run with it and go with it, and everything is amazing, right? So yeah, it's I will still have high and low shelf EQs, and I will still have some compression at the end. I'm still going to do all these things, and that I would do in the real world, even though we have the new cabs. Now, I may potentially not have to go as dramatic on some of the EQ because I have that ability to grab a microphone and move it closer to the cone of the speaker, or outside to take away some of the brightness or angle at 45 degrees. And once you learn how to use that as a tool, that might prevent you from having to use so much EQ or maybe use a little bit less EQ. But I don't think I'm really going to change my personal workflow just because of the new cabs. All right, back to the chat. I'd really love the AD MP1. Yeah, very, very cool preamp from back in the 80s on the next update. By the way, Jason, I love your channel. Appreciate it if you could break down the tone of the song After Dark by Tito and the Trenchers. Well, thank you so much. Glad you enjoy the channel. I'm not even familiar with that. I'd have to take a listen to that. I'll have to make a note of that. Derek says, I'm using a Focusrite interface with everything running through a mixer. If I don't build my own, it takes me longer to set up. Would love to know what your setup is so I can buy more. So my setup for creating presets, I hope that I'm getting the question right. I have my Helix that I use sometimes as an audio interface. I used to use it all the time. But actually, I have a Focusrite Claret Plus 4 pre right over here that has an SP diff in. So because I do video edit, I do so many different things that this is kind of the brain of my studio. So I have the what you're hearing here with the Helix today, that's actually Helix interfaced right in USB, nothing else, right? So you're just hearing the straight preset. But normally when I'm doing videos, I have the SP diff out of the Helix into the SP diff in, so I can just utilize my Focusrite audio interface, and then I have everything else routed through here, my vocal mic and everything. So yeah, it's a great setup. And when I'm creating presets, I have a set of the new IK Multimedia iLoud Precision monitors, which come with a microphone that you can balance your room, so you're getting a beautiful flat response. So they're very accurate. And I also cross-check that on both my 212 and 112 power cabs and on headphones. So I cross-check the presets in a mix, out of the mix, across multiple proper monitoring systems so that I'm going to hopefully get the results. Now, obviously, anybody using it on a different monitoring system may have to tweak it slightly. That just goes with the territory, different guitars, different ideals. And I actually, in all my presets, I give a PDF manual, which gives really detailed instructions on some very special things I do in my presets that folks can then kind of know a little bit more about what's going on and how, if they do have to make tiny adjustments, they can very effortlessly. So I include that with my presets too, which I think I've had a lot of people commend me for that and say that they're very happy that that PDF is there too. And that's with every preset and will continue to be. And what else do we have here? Chris Ogburn says, you're not going to satisfy everyone as you increase the options. There's a standard listening environment monitors. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. What happened to my guitar wall? Yeah, long story. There was an accident. I don't want to get into it. Accident a couple of years ago. Anyways, all is good. But yeah, as you can see, there's some, patch up there. Yeah, I just got away from that. No more guitars on the wall, unfortunately. 3.5 is awesome. I'm still trolling through the new cool stuff. Yeah, I'm going to have a video coming out tomorrow about the Plumes Overdrive. And actually, a little sneak peek for anybody's here, I'm also going to have another video this week where I had a real Plumes Overdrive in the studio and I compared it to the modeled one, and I think people are going to be surprised. I was shocked. Really cool. And needless to say, Line 6 folks did an amazing job. Rockman emulation, that would be very cool too, yeah. All right, what else do we have here? New update is pretty amazing, yes. I have an old PV5150 half stack that has some Sheffield 1200s. How can I get that cabinet sound copied to my Helix? Well, you'd have to, in that case, if you have the ability to create an impulse response of it, you could mic the cab with mics you like, the positions you like, run it through the preamps you like, and EQ you like, and then you would have to create an impulse response of it. And then you could get that and load it as an impulse response, unless you know a company who's already done a similar cabinets with those speakers. There's some great third-party IR companies out there who do just that. Mr. Mick says, do you recommend playing through studio monitors versus amps? Honestly, when I'm just working here in the studio, as I mentioned, I do utilize my studio monitors a lot. I always check things also against my power cabs because I want, and my headphones. I have a beautiful newish pair of Sennheiser HD 660Ss. These are absolutely spectacular. I also have a pair of HD 600s, which I've had for, I bet you, close to 20 years. And I just recently, in the last year or so, replaced them with these ones. Just killer. So different monitoring systems is, I think, very important to check it, tones and mixes across them. But the different monitoring systems, I mean, the iLoud Precisions, which you have little measurement mic like this, and you measure in different spots, and then you have room correction applied to the monitors. Those are absolutely killer monitors, and allow me to really be able to dial things in a way that I'm very confident, because I know that what I'm hearing is going to be really accurate. And it's been my mixes since I've been using this system. I actually used their ARC system, which is the room tuning software that's built into these speakers. I use those with my old studio monitor, so I've been using this type of a thing for a long time, and you just get a lot of confidence knowing that what you're playing, you're hearing back, right? Podgo insights. Not really. I do everything on the Podgo as much as I can, similar to the Helix. Obviously, we don't have the new cabs in there. I don't have any information about if we will. So I guess I couldn't even say if I did know, I can't even, I'm not at the liberty to say. So, but yeah, I treat the Podgo as much as I can like the Helix or HX Stomp within the limitations of the box itself, right? So I pretty much, any of my Helix videos, I have my phone on here that's going off. I should probably turn that off. Sorry about that. Any of the Helix videos I've done, pretty much a lot of the stuff, if those particular features are in the Podgo, I just kind of follow the same way. And I love my Podgo. It's great little unit. Dakota says, by the way, I recreated the sound of a Rockman X100 headphone amp through my Helix. Sounds exactly like Boston Maze. That's awesome. That very cool, iconic tone there. That's right. And Memory Man says, when I'm just playing around practicing myself, I always play studio monitors. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very different feel. Right now, I have my speakers off and I have my power cab on over here. So you guys are hearing the direct sound right out of my Helix, but I'm actually monitoring from my power cab. And it's just, I love the power cab. It just feels to me like I'm playing an amp in the room, even though I have it on FR setting, because I do all my cabs within my presets, right? It sounds great. Love it. And yeah, that's the Placator Ultimate preset and one of my favorites. What do we have here? Do you still recommend your channel strip type effects chain with compressor? It's set with 3.5. 100%. I'm not changing anything. That's like I said before. That's what I do in the real world when I'm miking a real cab. It's what I've always done, and there's really nothing that would ever come along that would change it. To me, I just think now the Helix is more like the real world. We can move mics around. Will it change how much EQ I apply at the end, or how much of a lower high cut? 100%, because maybe I can, move the microphone to get rid of some sizzle or to add some sizzle if need be. So maybe I don't have to EQ 4 dB. Maybe I only have to do 2 dB or none maybe. Just depends on the situation, but I'm still going to keep that template the way it is, and I'm still going to work the same way. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that one. Jason Music Man says, do you use in-ear monitors when playing live with the Helixes? If so, how do you set it up? Thanks for all the great videos. Oh, appreciate it. I'm so glad you enjoy what I do. I've played gigs with the in-ear monitors. Most of the time now I don't. The times I've played with it, I really try to dial my presets in a way that they're just going to be as close as possible to how I need them to be, regardless of what I'm using. So I really, because I've listened on headphones and whatnot. Now, having said that, it depends on what in-ear monitors you're using. And I've used some that are terrible. I've used some that are much better. But, so I just kind of go with the, how I use the Helix in the same manner, utilizing in-ear monitors as well. PowerCab Plus plus monitors helps when I leave the house. Yeah, I use mine religiously on stage. Love it. I usually use my 212, especially when I'm doing a bigger stage or something like that. I want a little more dispersion, but I've done small shows with the 112. I played a show in Toronto with a good friend where I just sat in for a couple of tunes. It was called The Loud Night. We played a bunch of 80s metal. There was guys on stage with full amps. I brought a PowerCab 112 out, an HX Stomp, and it was just ripped. It was plenty loud enough to keep up with Marshall half stacks and stuff. It was amazing. So yeah, I absolutely love my PowerCabs. Are you used to the new dial ballistics? It's really funny because I do so much editing on HX Edit. I have messed around with them a little bit, but I guess I'm used to them. I don't know. That's a good question, but I think it's a really cool feature. And it really, I love the fact that Line 6 doesn't just go like, here's some new amps, here's some new models, but they're actually trying to tweak even the little details of the Helix that just make our experience that much better, which I think is just so cool. Like, it's just such a great thing. I just love the guys at the company and what they're doing and giving to us. So I know it's hard to make everybody happy. Some people still find reasons to complain about these updates, but I think it's awesome what they've done and how they dive under the hood and get some other cool little things going there. This question, I'd also love your take on using a Stomp with an HX Effects together. Yeah, interesting. I've never owned an HX Effects, so I've actually never really sat down with one. I would kind of love to have one, and I'll have to maybe look into getting one. But yeah, I mean, there's I guess you could use it much in the same way as kind of sort of 4-cable method with a tube amp, right? Put some, the effects you want before the amp in a certain place and a send out and whatnot. I'm trying to remember what the ins and outs are on the HX Effects. It's not really my area of expertise, but I guess setting it up as you would, if possible, with kind of like a 4-cable method type setup would probably be the best. And then you could just move your effects around in HX Effects to where you want them in your path. I guess that's how I would do it. But yeah, Chris, not at liberty to say. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a secret. I am under NDA for when I do beta testing and whatnot. So even if I did know anything, which I can honestly say I do not with the Pod Go, but I wouldn't be at liberty to say, unfortunately, because I would get my hand slapped or worse. So I can't I can't say anything about that. When I do the 4-cable method, in front of the amp, the presets sound thin. I have a video about that. If you search my channel about 4-cable method, there's a few things I do to tweak things. But again, it's the tough part about that is it really depends on what amp you're using it with. Certain amps, it just seems to work well. Others, maybe not so much. So it's going to be a matter of tweaking. But I think if you get the initial setup with your global settings on your inputs and outputs set properly, it goes a long way to help. So maybe if you can search that up and take a look for that video, I hope there's something in there that can help you out with that. The IR loader defaults to minus 18 dB. Is there any detriment to setting them at 0 dB? The only detriment is if you're going to overload something afterwards in your signal chain, right? If you have a block that's going, a compressor that's going to now compress more, or you just got to think of any signal you change at any point in the chain is going to affect that, everything after it. If everything after it is just a linear type of effects block, it's not going to do anything. And as long as you're not getting digital distortion or distortion overloading, your power cab or your mixer that you're going into, then there's really no detriment, but there may also be no need. Again, it depends on the situation. I kind of hope that answers it. But HK sent a super chat, 10 euros. Thank you so much for that. That's really kind of you. And it says, thanks for everything you do. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. What are the cheapest in-ear monitors that have really good sound quality? I'm really not up on that. If somebody else has an answer to that, they could maybe leave that in there. Let's keep going down here. SJS Photography. Hey, Jason, love all you do. Thanks, man. Thank you for stopping by. Just sort of skimming through here the chat. Old Man Very says, Jason, what amp would you like Line 6 to recreate? They haven't already. Easy answer for me. As a company that I used to work with, that I endorsed, is Buddha Amplification. The original designer and builder of Buddha amps is a good friend of mine named Jeff Bober. I used to go out and do performances and whatnot at NAMM with them. I love those guys. In later years, it was sold to Peavey, and the amps are really not the same anymore. And I truly believe, if I'm not mistaken, the folks at Line 6 do have a Buddha amp. They have an old Twin Master, I believe. But if we could get a Twin Master or a Super Drive 30 or 45 or even an 18 in there, I would be super happy. That's probably one of my all-time favorite amps. Now I'm an artist with the folks at Rev. Off camera here, I have my Rev Generator 100R, which is a truly killer amp, but we already have a couple of channels. It'd be nice to get the other channels too, the red, the purple. It'd be nice to get the green and the blue and the Helix too. I don't know if there's any plans for that, but that would be extremely cool. Eric Carroll says, love your work, Jason. Thank you. Any tricks to get natural feedback with monitors or headphones? Yeah, tough, eh? It's funny. I think it's just a matter of positioning and volume, right? And the right type of preset. I'm not playing loud enough to really... I'm playing at very quiet, low volume here, so it would be really hard to get. But I'm sure if I went over and cranked my power cab up, this would kind of sing a little bit more, and I would probably get well into that ballpark of getting some nice feedback. But yeah, it's just a matter of, volume, positioning, and the right tone to start with, I would say, to really get that feeding back in a way that we would want. Global EQ only works with the cable. Yeah, plugged in USB global EQ does not work at all. So even if I had my global EQ on now, which honestly, I've done videos about this before, but I have literally never, ever used the global EQ. Never had the need to. Never had to. And I can see the purpose for it, though. If somebody needs to, get to a gig and it's like, wow, this room is just really, everything sounds dark, fine. You can use it to tweak that and it would be wonderful. It's a nice thing to have, but I've personally never used it. And like I said, it doesn't even work if you're using just the USB, right? J. Rockner says, do you really think that the Line 6 Helix is as good as using great individual effects? Yes and no. The reason I say that is there's probably going to be certain effects that maybe I would like the real version of. Having said that, I'm extremely happy with, for a while, if I had to be completely, blunt about it, I wasn't crazy about our selection of the choruses in the Helix until the 3.15 update, I believe. Man, they all blend together. I have a hard time remembering them all. But the Ampeg liquefier chorus, I absolutely love. To me, that just solved the problem, or the quote unquote problem. It's not that I thought the courses were terrible, but I just maybe didn't find one that I just loved in there. So yeah, I'm happy with everything in the Helix. I really am, and that's why I use it. A lot of folks say, "Oh yeah, you only say this because you're a Line 6 artist or you're this or that." It's like, no, the only reason I'm a Line 6 artist is because I bought my first Helix LT and fell in love with it, and then started working with it, and then had a relationship with the company. So that's the way that happened. So yeah, I can't ever put my name attached to any piece of equipment that I don't really truly 100% believe in. So yeah, anyways, that's my take on that. Let me see here. Sorry, this chat is jumping around on me here. Despite your NDA, can you speak to the possibility of the Catalyst models being in Helix release? No idea. Absolutely no idea. But I haven't even tried a Catalyst amp, believe it or not. I've heard great things about it. I wish I could tell you something about that. But no, I truly, NDA or no NDA, I have no idea about that. I've heard a lot of people ask for that and really want that. So I don't know, maybe it'd be kind of cool. I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Folks at Line 6 are pretty good about trying to do these things if enough people talk about it. Put that idea in, on what's the site where all the ideas are. Idea Scale, I think it is. But anyways, put that in there, and hopefully somebody will see it. Yeah, Flux says you need to test out your Helix 4K method at gig volume, see if you get any artifacts. Yeah, I always do that. I always turn things way up, turn them way down. I do test things out, but I agree with you. I think that goes for just about any preset, is you need to crank it up, see how it fits. I'm very much used to now, even at a low volume, knowing that, when I crank this up, I think it's going to be pretty close and in the ballpark. So I think the more presets you work on, you do get that kind of sense of what is and isn't going to work. But I do agree, you should crank things up and really give it a go to see if it is going to give you that at stage volume, competing with other instruments and whatnot. Is there a Bugera model, or am I getting too obscure? No, I don't know. That'd be cool. You never know what they're going to bring out next. I really don't know what is coming at this point, because we've just had this 3.5 come out, so I don't know what's coming next. But Marianne, thanks. Jason gave me the answer I was hoping for. I set my R's this way for a while, but attempted to replace them with the new cabs, and it left me with a huge lack of output level. Yeah, so you could also just go to the final output block and boost your output level, and that's not going to affect anything within your Helix preset as far as, sort of the signal chain goes, but it will obviously affect whatever you're plugging your Helix into, right? Anybody as impressed as the Helix is still relevant after 7 years? Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. What a piece of gear we have here, and just keeps getting better. SJS Photography says, that's very cool of you to do that, Jason. Most would charge for the updated presets. Yeah, I wouldn't feel right. Look, I do this for a living. This is how, I pay bills and yada, yada, yada. There's a whole bunch of musical things I'm involved in. But at the same time, it's not just about money. I got to have people, yes, I charge for some presets, but I really don't think I'd sleep well at night if I redid these with the new cabs and said, now everybody needs to buy them again. Nah, you know what? Just like Line 6 gives us these free updates, I want to do that for my presets. I don't care how much work it was. I put in that work in. I'm going to give you guys the presets you want. And now it's great for future customers and for those who have it. It's just my way of saying thank you for the support and for being so great over these last number of years, right? HK says, I'm amazed they still care. They really do. It's a great team of folks over there. I've become very good friends with a lot of them. Eric Klein is just a wonderful human being. I've had, the chance to speak online with him and hang out in person and share some drinks, and lovely, wonderful human. Can't get nicer. So every time I have a chance to sit down and talk, whether video conference or in person with Eric, it's just a pleasure. And great team of folks over at Line 6 for sure. Feedback block would be cool. Yes, it would be. And I see that requested a lot. Did you ever do a Jerry Cantrell preset? Yes, I did. And if you search my channel, dialing in, oh my goodness, I'll bet you it's 4 years ago, but it's on there. Definitely, if you search it up. I don't have all these links right at my fingertip here, but they are on there if you search for them. That's why even some of the videos I do recently, I revisit topics, not necessarily the dialing in videos, but I revisit topics. Somebody left me a comment the other day saying, you did a video real similar to this. Yeah, but it gets lost. That was done 3.5 years ago. Maybe I want to give a different perspective on a different angle on it. So sometimes I will like seemingly repeat myself, let's say, but every time I do that, I get a whole new, group of people that come in and say, "Oh, thanks so much. I really needed this video." So, they didn't see the original video. So sometimes I do that, and I just find it helps to, kind of consolidate where people have to look for videos, and the newer ones get noticed and can really help people. Because all those instructional videos I do for the Helix are really just about trying to help folks to get the most out of their Helix. And, if they don't see the old videos, then it's unfortunate that they may be missing on something that, could help them. Still waiting for L6 to give us a Boss Blues driver and Noble's ODR1. Yeah, I think it's a lot of folks have been asking for those as well. We'll see what happens. Jack Brasher says, given the 3.5 new cabs and the massive improvement in sound, would you like to see the power CAD gets the new speakers base and the new monitor used to create the new guys? That'd be cool. It's kind of funny because I'm probably one of the few, I don't know if I'm one of the few guys, but I use my power cab in FR mode and I just do everything in the Helix. So I don't even take advantage of the cabs in there. Having said that, I know a lot of folks do, and sure, it would be really nice to see some more, but I really don't know what they have planned for that. J-Rock Nurse says, do you use amp or Stompbox overdrive? That's a really great question. And for the most part, I've always gravitated towards amp overdrive. And when I was mentioning about the Buddha amp that I used to use, that's what I love so much about it. I'd switch to the overdrive channel. It was wonderful. Now, having said that, I have had overdrive pedals in the past, a really killer new overdrive that if anybody wants to check out is this guy, the Rev Tilt overdrive. This is the Sean Tubbs signature drive. This is another group of folks that are just wonderful people, and I'd love to see everybody support these guys. Killer overdrive pedal. It's got the drive side and the boost side, and this ability to like kind of do like a tilt EQ, similar to what we can do in the Helix with the tilt block. Very cool pedal and very cool group of guys. So I do love using overdrive pedals too, but I think I would have to lean towards liking to get my overdrive from the amp itself. This preset that I'm playing here, has an overdrive in it that I put on like some of the extreme settings on it. But this here, what you're hearing is just the placator overdrive. A little word about that. This preset's interesting because I went very extreme on it. I have how many snapshots here? 7 snapshots up to a distortion 2 setting, which is super extreme. And some folks go, oh, it's too distorted. And you're right, it is too distorted. But I thought I would put it in there for those folks who just want to have that extra gear they can kick it into. But it goes basically from clean, push 1, push 2. My push ones are just kind of more edge of breakup style tones. Clean being this. That's kind of the push setting. Up to overdrive 2. I don't know if I'd ever go past that, but I gave people the ability to. All the way up to this craziness. If somebody so desired. I know it's crazy, but yeah. So just because I put them in there doesn't mean that I would even necessarily use them, but they're there if you need them. It's all about options, right? So fun stuff. Anyways, yeah, definitely. I guess if I had to sum that question up in a less long-winded way, it would be amp distortion. I really love. What else do we have here? Memory Man says, I got my Helix in pre-order and still love it. Easy, one of the best purchases of my life. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely amazing. Matey the Great says, hello, mate. Question for you, QC or Helix? I haven't tried the Quad Cortex, to be honest with you. I've heard great things about it. Helix give me everything I need, so I don't even bother. I did checking out things. I was a Kemper user for 3 years before I got my Helix. Loved it if you have a great profile. I don't know. I just don't need it though. So I love what the Helix does. I had a Fractal FM3 for a while. Everybody goes on about how much better the Fractal is. I sold the Fractal. I just didn't see the point. Everything that I need, I get from the Helix, and that's just keeps my life simple. Now I use other pieces of software. I use IK Multimedia's Amplitude 5 sometimes. I say I use it. I don't usually use it when I'm doing my own work though. I usually stick to Helix native, but I do enjoy Amplitude 5. Their new Tonex plugin, which is like a software version of a Kemper, is absolutely spectacular. Amazing. Really, really cool. And I have a really cool contest going right on now on my website that you could win a free copy of Tonex. There's 5 that I'm giving away, and all you have to do is perform a guitar solo over a backing track that I have on my website. So it's on my website, www.sadites.com, SADITES.com. And if you look in the menu, there's a link to that. So if anybody wants a chance of winning IK Multimedia's new Tonex software, it's, I don't know what they're, $200-300 for that anyway. So you can get a free copy if you play a guitar solo, and we're going to judge the best guitar solos. That's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Flux says we need models of the Mesa Barba Trinity, Red 7 Leviathan. We have enough medium gain amps in the Helix. Yeah, well, there you go. Hopefully we can get some of those in the future. How long can we expect updates? I don't know now. You know, it really depends on what they're adding to an update, and you know how complicated it is, and there's a lot of variables involved there. Donald Bryan says, thanks for all your videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy them. Russ Laughlin says, are you not modeling speakers in your power cabs with the 3.5 update? I just use it on FR mode. Mick Godwin says, thanks, appreciate the thorough answer. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I hope I answer the questions properly. Don't they already have polyphonic pitch synth effects? I'm sure I can dial in something like a few. Yeah, you might be able to do something in there that gets you in the ballpark of what you need. Jason Music Man says, do you have any plans on coming to the UK at any point to play live? Would love to come and see you play. Nothing right now, but I would love that if that could happen in the future. Sure. I haven't really been doing a lot of touring in the recent years, but that would be definitely a lot of fun. Keep it in mind. Hopefully we could make something like that happen. Derek Trask says, the snapshot for me is so important, especially using a Variax. Do you have any tones on Marketplace? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I totally understand the question. The snapshot, all of my presets on Marketplace, or I should say 97% of them, all are snapshot based. So they always work from lower gain up to higher gain. Then all the ultimate presets also have a full array of effects, so you can switch over to Stompbox mode and have effects, snapshot mode for your gain. So very flexible. It's how I use them live as well. Chris Auburn saying that's an absurd amount of gain. You're absolutely right. And it's just, yeah, just there if somebody wants to be really, you know, blatant about how much gain they want to crank in there. But yeah, I wouldn't even use those settings myself, you know. So let me see here. Jeremy Stern says, I'm not sure if you missed it, but you have done a deep dive in the command center using MIDI snapshots. I believe I do have some videos on that. I would have to look back. My goodness, there's so many videos up there. If you do search around, though, for MIDI with Helix and whatnot, I do believe I did at one point. I know I did for certain, yeah. I think maybe it was using Line 6 Helix as a MIDI controller. Maybe search for that. You might find something on there. Russ Locken says, agreed. I still like to load up the 2204 model with the greenback model and the power cab when I want to scare the birds. Yeah, that's a killer combination. I'm a huge fan of the greenback speakers. Greenback cabs. They're awesome. I really, really do like that. Very cool here. Does anybody want to hear any of these presets, the Marketplace presets? Let's... I can give you some before and after. So I was playing you the Placator one. One of my favorites is my Metal Through the Decades modern metal preset. I've used this on a bunch of sessions, actually. Better watch for copyright if I play any of that stuff. So that's the original one, and this is the 3.5 version. always really liked that preset, but I have a real vast array of different tones. You know, I have a Nashville preset that I love so much. This guitar is very cool in that it goes into split coil mode. Sort of Telly-esque, not really, but... So that's the original, and the 3.5 cab version is this. So it's kind of good for a little country twang in there. It would sound way better with a Telly too. It was really kind of dialed in for that mostly. Let me just move this chat over so I can see what's going on. Got limited screen availability here. I also have like things like the rectifier preset. Nice little bite to it. And then the 3.5 version would be this. That's a real favorite of mine to mess with too. Let's see here. What else? There's so many to choose from here. Even some Fendery style things. You know, my Fullerton captures here. That's the original. And that would be the 3.5 version of it. What are some other favorites of mine here? I love, where is it? The Matchstick Ultimate is a real, oh yes, there it is, the Matchstick Ultimate. This was the original Matchstick Ultimate. This is off of the Matchstick amps. Just kind of switching through the different snapshots. So that's the original. Here's the 3.5 update. And of course I can switch to Stompbox mode. add some effects in there or not. And yeah, that's a cool one. I love that. Let me just go back to the, totally been ignoring the chat here. I was getting immersed in some playing. Yeah, where were we here? Where were we? Oh, there we go. Flux says, sounds like a JCM 200. Not sure which one you're referring to, but that's cool. Stuart Cars is sorry late to the show. Thanks, Jason, for what you do. Been go-to videos since day one. Thank you so much, Stuart. Really, really appreciate it. Enjoy listening to your playing. Well, I do appreciate it. Can you play from the JCM 800 preset? Yeah. Let me check I will go to that in just a second. Chris says, I'm only listening through my phone. I think I heard a difference, a little softer. Top end, yeah, could be. Good Earth Grind says, nice playing 3.5. It seems to have increased my overall volume and active audio monitors. Global instrument output line. Have you noticed the same? Not really, no. I don't think I have. All of mine were pretty much the same from what I can tell. Interstate Z is another cool one. So JCM 800. So I have, let me see through the giant list here. That is in the other list here. 1 second. I believe, yeah. This is it here. This is the legacy version. Switching over to the 3.5 version. The various snapshots of that. So really, really love that preset. That's a real favorite preset of mine. Somebody else mentioned the Interstate. That's a great amp. I used to own some Dr. Z amps. Let me see if I can find that in the list. Okay, here's the original Interstate Z Ultimate. That's the clean snapshot. Obviously, I will put overdrive pedals onto those amps because they're not higher gain, but I like to give people the option of going through the snapshots and adding it. And also in the stomp box mode, they can go and kick that overdrive on, even if I was, let's say, on my clean setting. I can switch over and kick the overdrive pedal on from there. And that's always fun. So a lot of different ways to mess around with those. So that's the original one. Switching over to the 3.5 version. Hang on a second here. So another really cool preset that I really enjoy a lot. So that's just a smattering of the presets and kind of giving a little bit of an idea between the originals and the 3.5 version. Going back to the chat here, Alex Lifeson 80s original versus 3.5. So awesome. Oh, that's very cool. Amp overdrive always sounds better to me. Jay Rockner says, yeah, me too. I'm big fan of it. Yeah. D Hyde says so much cleaner, less muddy. That's cool. Yeah. I think it's going to be really cool that folks are now going to be able to grab either of the presets and whichever they prefer, and it'll give them the option. Maybe one situation, one preset will be great, and the other situation, another preset will be great. So it's just, I'm super happy to be able to give that option to folks, right? Echo and Company says, which amp cabs are you using? All of these presets are using different ones. I pick the appropriate one for that particular preset, and then I kind of go with it and dial it in with whatever I feel works the best. Pixelot says, hi Jason, are the new 3.5 amps and their settings different from the stock amps in the previous firmware version? I'm not sure if you're referring to my marketplace presets that we're talking about today. Or the stock amps. I'm not sure as far as line 6 what they did. I didn't really look into that to compare. In my new presets I tweaked whatever I needed to kind of get it where I wanted it to be. I hope that answers the question anyways. Chris Auburn says, am I just going to have to buy a Helix now? Which model? What to do with my go? Don't think you'd be disappointed. The Helix is awesome. And LT is amazing. Even an HX Stomp is amazing. But the full-blown Helix is definitely hard to beat. D Hyde says, I'm an old dog, come from the days of plugging an amp and go. Daughter bought me a Helix as a retirement gift. You're my go-to guy with all this stuff. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad I could be of use and help with it, and I hope you enjoy the Helix. And I also am an old amp guy too, but I've really moved on to, I still have my amps, and I still love them, but I really do love, the Helix now. And Constantine M, how are you doing? It says, I would like more live streams. Yeah, I got to do more of them. It's finding the time, but I really want to come on and make sure everybody kind of hears about what was happening here with my presets. Anna says, I have a camper, but think you getting the Helix. What's your recommendation? Are there advantages of the Helix over the camper? Yeah, as I mentioned, I was a 3-year Kemper user. I hated the Kemper until I made my own profiles. I really didn't like what others had done with it. And so I captured amps of my own, my Buddha amps and whatnot that I had at the time, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. It's a great thing, but once I got my Helix, I sold it because the Helix gave me everything I needed. So I would choose the Helix over the Kemper, but that's just me personally. Nothing wrong with the Kemper. A really wonderful piece of gear. Old Man Very says, the Legacy 800 is bloody good. The 3.5 in better. Time to go shopping. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. That is a favorite preset of mine. I really do like that one a lot. David H says, my dog just passed. His name was Helix. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's terrible. I hope you guys are doing all right. Oh, that's never an easy thing. Very cool that his name was Helix, though. Yeah. So, what else do we have here? All right, the Helix is on. You can play with microphones and distances all day. Yeah, HK says you could play with microphones and distances all day, and that is absolutely true. I like to kind of get a starting point that I stick to on most cabs and then move from there if needed. Cap, edge, depending on the mic too, right? I mean, if you're using a ribbon mic, it's going to be darker, maybe muddier. You may have to move that more onto the middle of the speaker cone itself versus to the edge where it's going to get more dark. Whereas if I'm using a 57, maybe I'm going to move it out to the side of it and angle it. So you playing around with it. I think another great thing about this is playing around with the Helix and moving the mics around is just a really great way to even learn about real world miking situations and how this works in the real world, because it's very accurate in its behavior. So very cool. Pixelot says, I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to update my many existing presets on my HX Stomp. It's not easy. I just did it with all of these marketplace presets, and it's a bit painstaking and time consuming. But I would just start plugging away at it. And with some of them, I would be able to just, pop a cab in. If you have separate amp and cab blocks, then it's easier because you can just switch out the cab. But if you have the combo guitar and cab block, amp and cab block together, it's a little more problematic because when you switch from the Legacy to the new one, you lose all your settings in your amp. So that's a bit of an issue too that makes things a little bit more difficult. How long have we been going here? I don't know, where's our timer here? I've been at this for I don't even know. Where's my timer here? Oh, there, hour and 10 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay. I am going to have to probably cut it short. I have to get to some dinner plans this evening. And yeah, that was a blast, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was fun. I do need to do more of this. I need to definitely do some more of these. So Andrew Collins says, before I go here, oh, where can I buy your presets? Okay, sorry. So I had put the link just earlier in the chat. I will put it in the description below, but there it is again in the chat. That takes you right through to a list of all of my Helix, HX Stomp, and Podgo presets on the marketplace. And yeah, you can take a look there. And like I said, if you even buy any today, tomorrow, all the way up till when I update them with the new ones, right as of today, you'll download. You won't get the 3.5 ones. It's not because I don't want to put them up there. It's because I can't. I have to wait for Line 6 to do that on their back end, and that's not going to happen till later in the week. But they are done. And then once it's done, I'm going to do a video announcing that they're up and ready to go, and any existing customers who've purchased presets can go grab them again and get the new ones. So you're going to get them regardless, whether you buy today or wait till the end of the week. So yeah, that's it. So very cool. Chris Ogman says the word legacy always worries me. Some companies more so than others. Yeah, the only reason I chose legacy was because that's what they call the amp or the old cabs, or the legacy cabs and the older. So I just named my presets or the legacy versions of the presets, since they kind of line up with what Line 6 has called them. But you know what? The legacy presets are every bit as good and valid as they ever were. And, you know, I really don't think anybody's going to be too upset using them. And maybe in some cases you may prefer it over the new ones. But you'll have the best of both worlds. You have the ability to choose for both. Now, I think that's kind of the best case scenario, and that's why I wanted to go about it this way. Pixelot says, thanks for your many fantastic videos. Thank you, and everybody who's saying thank you guys so much. I really am so happy that you guys enjoy what I do, and I really can't thank you guys enough for the support over the years. It really does mean a lot to me, and I wish I had a way to convey that more regularly. Even now, I have to apologize to folks because I do get messages sometimes that I just can't respond to. There's a lot that come in, and I really try to get back to everybody, but it's really tough. So it's never that I don't want to or I'm snubbing anybody. It's just that I only have, you know, X number of hours in the day, and it's really tough to dedicate it all just to answering messages and whatnot. And so I wish I could, but thank you guys all for everything and for the support, and I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to head out for now. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for hanging out. That was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks for anybody who sent a super chat over, and very cool. And I just can't thank you guys enough. And keep an eye out this week for more 3.5 videos. This week and into the future even. There's a lot more I'm going to cover on them, but also keep an eye out for my marketplace update video, where I'm going to have some sound examples, and I'm going to make sort of the official announcement that those presets are now available. Anybody who owns them can go into their Line 6 account, download them, and get all the old and new presets. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I really do. And again, thanks so much for your support. So I'm going to head out. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in and sharing your time with me. I can't thank you enough. And